Pause, pivot. Conversations are pause, pivot. Conversations are pause, pivot. No more change, no more holding myself back. Answering my purpose now. Embracing life lost no. Today's a new day. Let the old pass away. No more limits, only say. Pause, pivot. Conversations are pause, pivot. Conversations are.
Hey, beautiful people, and welcome to the next episode of What's in Your Cup Conversations. I am your host, your favorite inspirational speaker and life balance and accountability coach. I am none other than Consuela Nicole. Go ahead and come on in. Let me know where you are chiming in from, and most importantly, share this video. We are streaming live, of course, on Facebook and YouTube. And trust and believe this conversation can definitely be the answer to someone else's prayers, right? Because as you know, we talk about not just what's in your physical cup, but we're going to talk about that too today. But we talk about what's in your mental, spiritual, and emotional cup. We live in this wonderful time in social media culture where we talk about the beginning of someone's stories, and then we see the highlights, the glitz, and the glams of, all the stuff that they've been through, but no one really talks about the hills, the valleys, the mountains, and the things they had to go through and dump out of their cup in order to get to the glitz and glams. So we're going to talk about that here, as we always do. So go ahead and make sure you share this out and all the things before we get started. Dr. Johnson, I see you, sir. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I see y'all coming on in. Of course, as y'all come in, chime in. Let me know where you are chiming in from, because I know we have viewers across the globe, and I am grateful for each and every one of you. Y'all have been rocking with us for 3 seasons, y'all. We are almost halfway through season 3, and we still got some more powerhouses filled in and lined up and ready to go. Before I do anything else, everyone asks, Consuela, how can we get what's in your cup to our location? Easy. Go to the website. Go to what'sinyourcupconversations.com and go ahead and submit a request that you either want to be a guest, you know somebody that need to be a guest, but they have to be willing and ready to tell their story, right? Or you can send your request over that you want us, What's in Your Cup Conversations, to show up to your event or to your establishment. And of course, I'm gonna always make it easy. You can always send that email to smile@consuelanicole.com. Yes, you read that right. When you email me, I want you to be able to smile when you hit that send button. So it's smile@consuelanicole.com. I got y'all. Are y'all ready? So, I do. I still talk about everybody, and I told my own, yes, your girl has her own accountability partners, right? And they are good about pulling my coattail. And they have told me on more than one occasion, we need you to talk about your services as well as others when you are doing your thing. So yes, you can bring Consuela Nicole and the No More Limit Transformation Platform to your organization and to your community, because I do the No More Limits as well as the Pause, Pivot, Push. So it's not just in my own zip code. We go to other zip codes. We go to other states. And I say we because, baby, there's a team. I can't do this by myself. And I love my team. I love my village. And I would not be able to do any of this without them, right? And y'all already know, I never come alone. And it's always a time had. So make sure you hit me up. Make sure you send that email. Make sure you go to the website, whichever one floats your boat, right? We have something for everybody. And just in case you can't read all of that, and I think you should be able to, that is consuelanicole.com. All right. Y'all, we have I know I told my guest I was going to give her a few minutes, but I'm excited to have her because she got a lot to say. Oh, hold on. Let me take that down because I want y'all to see my face for a minute. My next guest has a lot to say, and it's a lot to take in for a lot of people. But her story is, we need to talk about her story. But I got some questions about her story, right? But let me tell you about my guest. I am talking about none other than Miss Effie Best. Effie Best, first and foremost, is a powerhouse entrepreneur. She is a top producing real estate producer here in Texas. She is a community advocate who turned her struggles into triumph, right? She is a teen mom. Y'all know how I feel about teen moms and pushing through. We're going to talk about that. The most interesting part, Effie built her first business by the age of 24 and has never looked back. She has over 14 years. 14. I need to check them numbers because I don't know how old she is to have 14 years in the game. But 14 years consulting and 5 consecutive years as a top performing realtor. So y'all know who y'all need to hit up in the state of Texas. I'm just saying. Effie also leads with her heart and hustle. At the time, and I need to make sure this is still updated, she served as the president of the Women's Council of Realtors for the Greater Northwest Houston and chairing statewide membership and events. That is you know what? I'm not about to read the rest of this bio. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, help me welcome to the stage none other than Miss Effie Best. How you doing, beautiful?
Hi, good evening.
This bio, I couldn't read no more.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but 14 years in the game.
Yeah, 14.
You ain't old enough to have 14 years in the game.
Well, I mean, I got a 22-year-old.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna before we do anything else. I know what I just said about what's in Effie's cup, right? And you already know. I ask all of my guests this. When Effie walk into the room, or matter of fact, when Effie wake up in the morning and Effie looks in the mirror, how does Effie introduce herself to that chick in the mirror to get her day going?
Just say, hey, bitch, let's go.
That's it, Effie. Are you serious? That's all you got? That's all you got?
Ooh, one day at a time, we gonna bite this elephant from the bottom all the way to the top. It's a big, to do tackle this, and I don't get to tackle everything. So, I got to give myself grace. I'm reminding myself to give myself grace for not
Yes.
tackling everything. But
Okay.
yeah, it's here we go again. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. I love it. I love it. Queen Monica, I see you. Dr. Johnson say, hey, Effie.
Hey.
So we're going to start it. So you are a real estate, high earning, high producing, big time real estate guru in Texas. And you look like me.
Yeah, we push numbers over here.
Why real estate?
So honestly, my best friend used to nag me a lot about getting into real estate because he's like, you do credit and taxes and financing. So you might as well add real estate to your repertoire because everybody who comes get their credit fixed is trying to buy a house. So you might as well do it. And it took me a long time to finally bite that bullet and like get into real estate.
Okay.
I was dabbling on the side of investors. So I knew when I went to, school, I knew all the answers. I knew how to answer all the questions because I've been in financing and I just knew what it took to get people into a home. I was very passionate about it.
Okay.
So going to school, I finished in 3 weeks, passed my test immediately, only took it once because it was just something I had to do. I had to prove that I could do it. At the time, there was a situation that happened that it was sink or swim. So it was like, girl, you better. I ended up in the hospital the day of me taking my real estate exam, having a panic attack. But it was severe.
We're gonna talk. Okay, we're gonna talk about that.
It was
we're gonna back
severe.
it up. How long have you been in the real estate game?
I just made 6 years.
So you just made 6 years. So we're gonna
Officially
go back
on paper, 6 years,
on
but I've been in
paper
the real
6 years.
estate game 12, 12
Okay,
or
so you
something.
playing
Yeah,
you playing this real life Monopoly game.
for
You the
sure.
real life. Okay, okay,
For
I can
sure.
give you that. But we're gonna back up even more. You start. I start out your bio that you are and were a teen mom.
Correct. Correct.
How old were you when you had your first baby?
I got pregnant at 15, had her at 16. Kiana's born in February. My birthday's in May, so I turned 17 shortly after, but it was a 16-year-old having a baby on Valentine's Day. So yeah.
How was so? Wait, before you do that, I have to ask Effie because when I first met you, I was like, Effie is not her name. And I was told, yes, it is, because technically you're not, well, is that politically correct? You're not necessarily American, but
Correct.
okay. So I want to make sure I get it right. So technically, what is your background, your
So
heritage?
I am a true African American, right? My parents
Right.
are 100% Ghanaian. They were born in Ghana, but I was born here. So I am
Okay. So
American.
you are the true version of what an African American is.
Correct. I'm
Okay.
first generation African
Okay.
American. But I was raised in a Ghanaian bubble. So even though I was born in America, it didn't matter that America was outside. I was raised in a Ghanaian
In a
household.
Ghana
It
household.
was very
Okay.
African in my household.
And that's why I bring that up. So now, as raised in a Ghanaian household, having being a teen mom, what was that like? Because I know it had to be different from the traditional American household.
It was hell. It was, I put myself in hell at an early age. Wow. Yeah, I messed up. Um, it was very nonetheless traumatizing. Um, just being a kid trying to find herself, having a responsibility. But on top of that, with the parents that I had, well, that I have, ugh,
Yeah,
that was tough. That was tough. And mind you, I have an older sister. So she's 2 years older than me. So it was rough. It was rough. It was rough.
it was rough, but you
Yeah,
made it through.
I made it through. I like to black out that part of my childhood because it was self-inflicted, but it was definitely rough, you know?
It was rough. Okay. There's one thing that you and I talked about, and I know it wasn't on, it's nothing recorded when I was asking you about, having African parents versus American parents. And one of the things that stood out was kind of the way that African parents talk to their children, right?
Ooh, yeah,
For us Americans, it seemed like it's harsh, right? But that's normal in the African culture, right? That it comes off harsh to a point.
correct. So I think really, any foreigner,
Okay.
Asian, African, I'm not too sure about Hispanic, but I know for sure over the waters over there,
Uh huh.
they're very, very tough and have very, very, very high standards for their children because
Got it.
we are
Okay.
supposed to take care of our parents. So they want to
Right.
make sure that they implement that in place. So the way that they talk, and I had to learn this in my marriage, so I didn't learn this until later, that it is verbally abusive.
You're not
It
supposed to be
is
laughing now, but
it
okay.
is because it's funny because I honestly, even with society today, I still
Mhm.
don't see nothing wrong with it because I feel like that's why these kids are so soft now.
Okay.
Like it's verbal abuse, but the thing is they don't have malicious intent behind the words. The words are, and this might sound crazy, are out of love because they want you to do better. So they have to point out your flaws. They just don't do it in the nicest way. They're very blunt. They're
Very
not
forward.
Right. And then on top of that, most foreign parents don't hug and kiss and say, I love you. So you
Oh, I
miss
didn't know
that.
that part.
Yeah. So then you miss that, with the words, the affection, but you don't get that. So you really just take that all in, and that really develops you as an adult. If you look at statistics,
Hmm.
most Africans are engineers, doctors, lawyers,
Right.
nurses. They're in the medical field. They have very, very serious professions.
Uh-huh.
Um, and same with like Filipinos and Indians and all that stuff. Very,
Right.
very serious professions because they don't take lightly to stupidity or schooling. So,
Right. That I knew. Yeah, that's definitely
yeah.
the school. Okay.
So the constant, you need to be the best you can be, especially when they tell you the stories about how they came over and we didn't have nothing,
Right. Right.
whatever. Those type of things, that guilt, they put it on their kids and they tell their kids they better, which is, when you think about it, it's not a bad thing because they need to be,
So then,
you
Effie, then
want
I
your
have to
children to
ask.
be successful. There's just a way to do it. But
Right, and see, so Dr. Johnson then asked the question that I was going to ask with what the way you were raised, right, in your household versus what you noticed in the traditional American culture. Are you affectionate toward your children?
I am not. Um, no. When you're in this cycle, right,
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very hard to break it,
Okay.
right? So um, okay, example. I wasn't allowed to pass the threshold of my parents' room. I could not walk into my parents' room, especially without knocking, whatever. I
Okay.
used to sneak into my parents' room all the time so I could steal makeup from my mom. But she knew. She knew. I don't know how she
Mhm.
knew, but she knew. If I
Me.
sprayed that perfume and she didn't come home till hours later, she knew I was touching her stuff. But anyway, and I would mark it, like make sure I put it back correct. She just knew. But my kids busting here all the time. Matter of fact, they steal from me. I come home and I see them wearing my clothes or whatever. They don't even ask. It gives
Okay.
me, like, I cringe. I get so angry. But that's just, there's it's different times. And then unfortunately my kids can fit my damn clothes. So they steal so much. Oh my God. They barely ask me. A brush, a comb, hair grease, Vaseline, shoes, clothes, just whatever.
They did it. Okay.
They take
So
it.
what are some of the knowing that now that your foundation, right? Your foundation is the African foundation, which is completely different than a traditional American foundation. You had your African household, but now you're watching your friends or schoolmates and whatever they're doing in their household. Did you ever wonder like why I can't do that? Or did you sneak and do that?
That's why I had a kid at 16. Yes, I was rebellious as hell.
So you was
Um,
very so then what are you doing differently, if anything, between the way you was raised and what you're doing with your children? Because now you have more than one child.
right. So what I had to do was, I honestly, I learned how to be a parent probably 13 years ago. Um, Even though I told you my oldest kid is 22. I
Right.
learned how
Explain
to
it.
be a I learned how to be a parent. So at that time I had 5. I was raising 5. And my ex-husband said one thing to me which made me like snap out of it. And he said, "You cannot raise them all the same." Because I was like militant, right? I was like, "Why aren't y'all listening?" Da-da-da. Everybody, and hell, I even dressed them all the same. Just like everything. I disciplined them the same. I talked to them the same. I expected the same results out of
Okay.
all of them. And it wasn't happening. And I was the one getting frustrated. And he said, "You can't raise them all the same. They're all different." And I was like, huh? I was like, what they mean? You know? I said, no,
Right.
if I tell you to do something, do it. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
Like, there's no if, ands, buts, questions about it. But when I started observing that, okay, Kennedy doesn't respond well to yelling. Kayla will just shut down. Kiana will yell back. Jordan will shut down. Josh will look at me crazy. So I noticed that I'm saying the same thing to all five of them, but I'm getting different responses, right? So I had to learn to talk in their language, right? So I knew that if Kennedy at that time, if I took her iPad, I could get her attention. So boom,
Okay.
cut the Wi-Fi off, right? That
Okay.
now I cut the Wi-Fi in the whole house. So everybody was affected. So that created checks and balances. If the brother didn't want the Wi-Fi off, he would go check Kennedy before I got to turning that Wi-Fi off because I'll say a warning, right? So now
Okay.
everybody's holding each other accountable. And
Okay.
then that makes my job a lot easier. And then I had to do one-on-one dates with all five of them damn children. So I can learn their personalities and figure out how to talk to them and kind of like talk to them in their love language. You know, get what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I
That
have
makes
to learn
sense.
how to, if I wanted results, I
Right.
better learn how to talk to those kids, how they can understand me really quickly. And that's why I say raising five kids was easy as hell. Because once I mastered that, it was a breeze. Like I can't, it no problems. I could raise five kids by myself easily. No problem.
Now,
It was
so
so fun.
what would you tell that struggling parent or parents right now that's even just trying to get through to two kids? Because kids now is definitely different than they were even a year ago, let alone 5 years ago, right? But I think it's still important to be able to, like you said, know their love language and be able to talk their language and know how they respond versus do as I say, not as I do, you hear me type of situation. Because as
Right.
we all know, that don't work.
That don't work at all. Cause look, no, didn't work.
That's how we get
Um,
teenage moms and teenage dads and all these other different things out in the world. What would you say to those parents? Because you have made it through and you're still going. See, my children are grown. I
yeah.
have a 22 and a 32. And I'm an empty nester, so none of my kids are at home. You still have babies at home.
Yeah, I
Well,
still have two.
young two at home.
I
Right.
still call
What
them
would you take?
babies. So
Right.
I have two girls, 15 and 16. And
Right.
baby, it's tough right now with them two. Um, but you got to get uncomfortable and get on their level.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you just got to get uncomfortable. You got to break down and you got to get on their, if you want them to respond to you, if you want
Right.
them to talk to you. Now, mine talk a little too much. I'll be like, ugh, please find a friend to go talk to, indulge that information to. I don't want to hear it. But, you know, you got
Okay.
to get down on their level. I'm still like, when my girls started their cycle, I sent them to my mama house because I still didn't know how to deal with that. Like, I don't know how to deal with that. There's just some things I just still can't do. If it's boyfriend problems, I'm not. I was like, look at all the men I picked. I'm not the best person to talk to that. Go find somebody. So there's still some conversations I just can't have with them. But you know, um,
Wait. Wait. Pause. You have openly told your children, your girls, that I am not the best person to talk to for boyfriend problems. Look at my track record.
yes, I mean, look at it. Oh my God, it's horrible.
Effie. So you
It's
mentioned it, so
horrible.
that means you're divorced.
I'm divorced.
How long were you married before you divorced?
I think we were 6 years in.
Okay. Was it a
Should have divorced at year one. Should have never got married. But I think
I
we
love your honesty. I love your honesty.
I think we lasted 6 or 8. I can't remember.
But you are
So
able to co-parent at this point and you co-parent better divorced.
there wasn't any co-parenting. It was definitely me just parenting.
Yeah.
We got married in 2016. So yeah, we were married 6, together 8, because we got together in 2015. Yeah, 15. Married
Okay.
by 16.
So what was that like
Divorced by
restarting?
22.
Well, I don't know if you want to call it restarting, but what was that like doing life after divorce as a single mom?
Well, we already had my routine, so it was cool. And we were estranged for a long time before we even got the divorce. So
Okay.
him being in my presence gave me anxiety. Like I literally went to my therapist and they prescribed me Xanax. I never took it, but he was overseas and he would come home every 3 months. And I was like, I'm used to being in my space. This is
Okay.
giving me anxiety. I don't want him here. I wanted him home, but I didn't because I was trying to work on the marriage. But then I didn't want him home because I was like, I got so used to sleeping by myself. That man snored so bad. Like it would shake the house. So I was like, damn, now I have to train myself to fall asleep early so I can beat him to sleep so I can actually sleep.
You can sleep.
Um, and just his presence. Like, when you're sick of somebody, you don't want to hear them breathing. I try to put a pillow
Oh,
over
you
his
take that
face
back.
once or
No,
twice.
we're not gonna say that on here, no ma'am.
I mean, I
No,
did.
we're not gonna say. So
Because like
moving
you just don't
on.
the thought of them, the sight of them, everything just makes you angry.
Yes.
And I had to learn how to, which made an uncomfortable dynamic in the home, which I was like, you gotta go because me and my kids are upset. You know,
Right.
I couldn't
For
be, I
that
couldn't show up,
change.
I couldn't show up as the best mom that I knew how to be or the best employee that I knew how to
Okay.
be with that that cloud,
That
that
happiness. Yeah. Okay.
heaviness. So yeah, we played around for like 2 years to where I was like, I can't do this anymore.
So one of the questions, that I asked when we were talking about you being a guest, I was like, what would the title of your life be? And your response was built from the bottom, branded for the top. I hustled, I healed, and I handled it. Explain that. Because that's a lot.
Um, so some people are gonna find out some things about me they didn't know.
Uh-oh. We can pause if need to. You can talk about some of the other stuff.
No, so okay, so having a baby at 16, right? The father is incarcerated. He got a 10-year bid at the age of 17. So I was left alone to raise this child.
Mhm.
Um, so me being 16, him being 17, and him getting a 10-year sentence, was like, what do you do? Right?
Mhm.
Um, I was a junior in high school. I was sports. I planned on going to the Olympics. I ran track. I was really good in athletics,
Mhm.
but getting pregnant, I developed asthma or I probably had it, just wasn't triggering. But
Right.
while I was pregnant, it triggered and I couldn't run anymore without passing out or inhaler. Um, Mind you, I hid my pregnancy for 8.5 months.
Ooh, Effie, how
Um,
you do that? Don't
playing
don't tell us
sports,
how you did that because
playing
then
sports and kept me in shape, you know? Um, I had a six pack when I gave birth. So um I was really tiny, really tiny. When I passed out during a track meet is how they found out I was pregnant. Um, and uh, when they finally found out I was able to eat comfortably, and then my baby grew enough pounds to, be fully
Mhm.
termed and developed. But yeah, no prenatal, no nothing. Just praying it went away every day. Um, and my mom knew. She would say comments like, "You're getting a gut," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. I just ate." I'd fake my cycle, um, and because I knew I always started around the
Uh-huh.
same time my mom did, so I was like, "Okay, you gotta keep up with it." And then, like, I worked out heavy so I could stay small. Um, that was it. But like, having to figure that out. I got a job at 15. I knew I was pregnant. So my first job was at Just for Feet. So I could try to save money. And I thought I was going to run away, have the baby, and like come back because I saw this girl did it on 2020. And I was like, oh, I can do that too. Fake a basketball tournament and go have. I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought that. And
you had some thoughts going in your head.
yeah, I did. And, I had nobody to turn to because the dad was in jail, right? And my parents hated him. So, and he didn't have any family. He was a foster kid. So there was no other grandparents besides,
Yours.
mine. And my dad was not okay with it when he found out. So he didn't deal with me. My mom stepped up and helped a lot. She'd watch the baby while I went to school sometimes. And that was it. I had to finish my year out. I was like, I gotta graduate, right? I can't be no. And I refused to go to one of those special schools. They'll send you to a special school when you're pregnant.
Right.
I refused to go. I was like, no, I'm too smart for that. I ain't going in there with the losers. I'm not going to no special school. So I did at-home tutoring while I was on my 6-week leave.
Right.
6-week leave.
Right.
Ain't no kid got no 6-week leave. But anyway, I'm on 6-week leave.
6-week leave, right?
And then I got back into school. I took my SATs and I hit the ground running and I graduated top 25%.
Okay.
So that was good. But I was determined. I had a point to prove because they were talking so bad about me. African parents will go in on you. So I had a point to prove, and I needed to get it accepted into college.
So you wasn't just trying to prove a point to friends and other people. You were trying to prove a point to your parents.
Only to my parents. I didn't care about what my friends thought. They
right. You were trying to prove to your parents that you can still do it, and you are still doing it. But I heard that there was a correction you needed to make because you jumped into the real estate game and you started making these power moves and doing big things in the real estate game. That you held the title of president of the Women's Council of Realtors for Greater Northwest Houston. But I just saw an update like less than 24 hours ago, ma'am. Tell us about that because you're making moves out there in Texas.
I am a past president now. My term is over, honey. My year is over. I'm excited. I'll drink to that.
Oh, well, congratulations.
It was a great year. We had a great run. We did a lot of good things. We brought recognition to the network, which was my team. I didn't do it by myself. Okay. I have a board and my board they were easy. Thank God. Because I've been on other boards with other networks and they were not fun. So this was easy, smooth. Everybody had the same mindset. So that's what made it a cakewalk, right? And the goal is to bring value to our network. And I believe that's what we did. And the numbers don't lie. And I'm a numbers girl, okay? So anything I touch is going to succeed. Okay. So anything I put my mind to, I'm going to conquer and I'm going to do. And with the help of my board, baby, we say, what them Power Rangers did when they put their hands in the
go Power. Yeah. You got the go.
Yeah, we was in there every time. So every event was very successful, very meaningful. It touched heartstrings. Everybody understood our mission. And that goes to show for awesome year. The numbers show for an awesome year. So I did my damn thing.
You did. Congratulations. Congratulations. So that brings me to this first picture because during that time, I'm going to say this picture is probably within the last 12 months or so. I asked you for a picture of where on the outside, you look like you was high on life and things were going great. But on the inside, you was going through some stuff and nobody knew. And this is what you sent to me. I love this picture, first of all. But you saying that you was going through some things during this picture.
Yeah, I had just lost my home, and let me tell you something about God, though. I don't want to say I lost my home, even though physically that's what
Mm-hmm.
happened. Uh, he redirected my steps. He realized. So during my presidency, while trying to keep a whole network in check and show face as a true leader, I have
Mm-hmm.
lost a home, two homes. I've lost a car. The economy is just, it is what it is. And if you're not making money, then you gonna
Yeah.
lose some stuff, right? And
Yeah.
I live in a very expensive part of town,
Okay.
and and I have to stay there because of my kids and their school. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really at that time my rent was probably 3,000. That was more than my house. So my rent was like $3,000 plus $1,000 car note plus bill utilities plus the girls and their hair and their bundles and nails and
Right.
sports and people in college and people doing this and hands out and plus
Right.
on top of that me still trying to live my life to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, it, that was it was a tough year through and through, but you gotta chin up chest out.
And you did. You did that. You pushed through. You're still healing from it. But you've handled it, and you're currently still handling it, and you're doing it without breaking. So you didn't have to dump out, get rid of, no matter if you got rid of it or they took it from you or whatever the
They
case
took
was.
it. We had to get rid of some stuff. It's just like you have to you can't dwell in it, right?
Right.
You know it's coming. And I've always
Mm-hmm.
been a hustler, right?
Yep.
Um and God has put in me how to pivot. Now, do
Yes.
I
Yes.
want to pivot? No. I likes to be comfortable in my lane, in my zone, but he has installed in me the ability to pivot. So yes, I saw it coming. I knew I had to make some shake. And that's what we do as mothers because we don't want our babies to go without. So we
Yep.
would make the impossible
We do.
possible.
We do.
I I can't tell you it was nothing but God how I pulled off everything to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um People could sit there and be like, "Oh, I lost my house, I lost my car," but I was never homeless. I never had to go back to my mom's house, even though I tried. Uh, then I thought about, I was like, hell no.
Right.
Um,
Peace of mind
but
to do that for you. Peace of mind to do that for you.
yeah, so like I went from apartment to apartment to now I'm in a 4 bedroom home. I got an
Right.
extra room that I don't even, like it's just abundance, but it is nothing but the grace of God that allowed me to stay afloat, allow my
Mhm.
girls to dress up for homecoming and get their hair done and get their
Right.
nails done and
You got some beautiful babies. I didn't seen it. I didn't seen
thank
them.
you.
I was all through your pages, but don't worry. I ain't gonna show the babies, but keep going.
And then, be able to still dabble in my play. Like I like to play golf. That's my piece. So
Right.
golf ain't cheap. So to be able to still do that consistently, um, to still be able to like get somebody's hair done or my hair done or whatever, so I can look like somebody. It's been a lot of rotation of wigs around here, but
Right.
hey, thank God I was rich at one point, so we still got clothes that look
You
good
got clothes and hair
and
that
got
look
some
good.
wigs that I can refurbish around here that
Right. Right.
that can still
Okay.
make me look like somebody, okay? Cause what?
Right. Because this next picture, man,
Was I rough?
I went
And
snooping.
I don't be
No,
caring either too. I just
I
be
done went
posting
researching and looking through anything you've made public.
everything public.
I want you
Oh,
to
that's
talk
that
to
baby.
the
I was
younger
on
Effie.
Section 8 about to blow up. This is when I said I'm gonna become a millionaire. And that's the start. That was the start of J&E Financial, that picture right there.
Tell us about it. Talk to the younger Effie in this picture.
I was in a very controlling and abusive relationship, and we started the credit repair business together. He made me quit the hospital. I was working as a unit secretary here, Memorial Herman. And he told me quit because he was tired of taking me to work. And he's like, you need to work the business since I'm paying for everything. Because he's 21 years my senior. So we started the credit repair business, and we had a janitorial corporate and residential cleaning service. And I was working those two jobs while he was out doing Lord knows what.
Uh-oh.
And
Okay.
um, I was all like, okay, let me steal the credit repair stuff from his computer. He don't know. And I put it on a flash drive, and like I'll ask him for like money for groceries or something, and then I'll go get what I need. Like I hit a computer, and I had my own computer, and got a flash drive, and I learned how to fix my credit based off of, because he would never let me fix my credit. And based off of the things that I had to do for the clients that we serviced.
Okay.
And the janitorial company, he was, now this is what I believe.
Okay.
And I don't know, 100% true, but it's pretty damn true.
Okay.
I had one of my childhood best friend's moms working with us. She wanted to
Okay.
do a little part-time gig. At night, we cleaned commercial. During the day, we cleaned residential. So during the day, it was just me and him. At
Okay.
night, I had my neighbor, Mr. Larry, and I had a childhood's mom friend working. And I
Okay.
believe they were sleeping together while I was cleaning them businesses.
Uh-oh.
Um, but I was like, I gotta get out, right? That was my
Mm-hmm. That was
motivation
your
to get out.
right.
Yes. And I started the credit repair business because he didn't have social media, so he didn't know what I was doing. I was advertising to fix free credit then.
Okay.
And it was so people would ask me to do it, and I fixed it and it worked. So I was like, oh shoot, I can start charging now. And then
Okay.
with the cleaning, I started our company name was Green Clean with the K Janitorial. So I
Okay.
started Green Clean Janitorial Services, and I put it on Google. And I knew the contracts would be up. So when they try to Google, they will contact me instead of him because
Yeah.
they knew my face because they saw me cleaning the buildings. But then I started obtaining the contracts. So my
Under the new
getaway
company.
was take all the janitorial company and take all the credit, like start building my own credit repair brand.
Okay.
And that's what I did. So when I fixed my credit, I jumped my credit up from a 525 to a 740. I will never forget. And I was like, hell yeah. I did it in 30 days. I said, it's time to go. Now, mind you, I was on Section 8 then, right? I told you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't know I was on Section 8. So I was charging him rent every month so I can
Okay.
have a little bit of money because I never
Yeah,
had money.
because you have no money. Right. Okay.
Mhm. And you living with me, so I might as well. But he had went down to the office because he was planning on leaving me. And he had went down to the office and asked if he could pay the rent 6 months in advance. And they told him I ain't got no rent. I'm so mad at them women. I said, why you telling that man my business? But um, we got into a big old fight that night, and he's like, "You been charging me rent?" And I was like, "How am I supposed to survive?"
Right. Right.
So, you know, kicked him out. But now I got the 740 credit score, no car because he had bought. I mean,
Okay.
everything was in his name: lights, water, gas, everything. So now I have the 740 and I try to get everything in my name. And they're like, you need a deposit. You need a deposit. And I'm like, why? I got a 740. It's because I've never established credit before.
Have
So that's
credit.
how I learned the education.
Okay.
It's not just about cleaning. You need to learn how credit really works.
Got it
But
leveraged.
that's how I learned. And I bought a car. I bought two cars that one weekend because I wanted to fill up the parking spot so he couldn't park his car, so he couldn't come home. And I knew I had by the end of the weekend to return one car because I can't afford two car notes. And I started saving my money. And the businesses took off. Like, I made 200,000 my first year.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't know what I didn't know what to do with myself. I was balling out of control. I've never seen that kind of money before, never handled that kind of money before. So I was all like, it's about to go down. I tried to buy a house and I was on the process of doing that. But then I had to get a co-signer because I was self-employed.
Right.
So my dad was co-signing on my house, but then he disappeared right before closing. So I couldn't close on my house. But I built it from the ground up and I was young and I just took that money and I got us a rental house. And at that time I got with my now ex-husband and I
Mhm.
adopted his two kids and I moved us
Okay.
all seven of us into a nice house, furnished it, and we lived good
You look
for a
very
long
good.
for a long time. Yeah. So that's how that came about. But if it wasn't for that man doing what he did, I would have never thought of the idea of starting Jamie Financial. And I don't know who the J is. The J is a silent partner. I just knew that me being young and black, at the age of 24,
Right.
I could not walk into a bank and get people loans. So I
Right.
had to make up a J. I made up a man and I acted like his assistant. And that how I got things done.
You made your own alliance. Sometimes,
I
you know
did.
what? Sometimes that, and even now, sadly, that still has to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because
I
there
can't
are
be the face of
doors.
my company.
No, being a woman, being a black woman at that, right? No matter if it's black or African American, because you are a true African American. I have to remember that. And it catches me off guard, right? It does. Because you don't, well, when you are trying, your accent actually comes out.
It
But
does. If I'm
but
talking
you
fast.
right, when you talk fast, it comes out. But when you get really, really relaxed, it comes out. But you have been controlling it for so many years, it's become natural to you,
Right.
right? So then I have to remember, oh yeah, that okay, yeah. But you still have all these challenges that are thrown at you, and you are still pushing and healing and growing, and you're doing so many different things that other women are like, how can I want to be able to do, right? Dr. Johnson, be quiet. Silent partner, tell Jay I said hello.
He said
um,
hi back. Okay, there is a
right.
J somewhere.
But you are doing that and people are watching you, right? When I say people, I'm talking other women. They may not
Yes.
be saying anything, but they are definitely taking notes. What would you tell, that 40 something, that 50-year-old woman that's trying to figure it out now because either they are newly divorced or they have just gotten out of a relationship or whatever, or they're newly widowed? Because there's a lot of women out here that are starting over for a many reasons, empty nesters that are starting over. What advice would you get? And I know everybody's journey is different, but what would you tell them about the hustle that you have, right, in order to push and breaking those walls?
So honestly, I had to start all over myself too. So I'm about to be 40 next year and I'm
Mhm.
starting over from scratch again. Um, I'm not technically an empty nester, but I had three graduate and I'm stuck with two. Look, I'm stuck with two.
You're stuck with
And
it, okay?
I had to learn myself because I'm so used to this tight schedule by having five, right?
Mhm.
And I realized I didn't like Chick-fil-A. I realized I was just eating it because the kids. I have a lot of free time. As far as not free time as far as not working or whatever, but free time as in there's enough space for me now. And I didn't even know what I liked, right? Um, and I'm figuring that out. And I want to be in a relationship so bad. So like I'm not used to being by myself. So I had to learn how to do that. It's a lot. Um, and then I feel like I'm past my prime because I was so successful at such a young age, all the way up until um I won't say it's over, but it looks different to me, right? How I
Right.
measure
Okay.
success looks different to
Mhm.
me. Ooh, correct those words because you got to be careful what you speak. So
Yes, yes.
it looks different to me, and I had to realize that, hey, you still success. Look at, I still am collecting accolades even in the
Mhm.
darkest time of my life, you
Yes,
know?
you are. Yeah.
Um, and that's just, but the grind, I'm gonna be honest with you, the grind's not there. I do not grind um anymore. I got too comfortable with easy, fast money because I've always been used to fast money. And
Okay.
now that I have to go back and grind like how I did 14 years ago, it kills me because that's tiring. That's draining. I had to put feet to pavement back there so I can become a household name, right? To know
Okay.
that I have to do that again, oh man, I fight that every morning. That gives me anxiety every morning that I have to get up and like, you gotta go hunt or you ain't gonna eat
You
today.
ain't gonna eat.
That
Yeah.
kills. I used to blink and be like, credit repair special, 20 people sign up, I make $2,000 in 5 minutes. It
Right.
doesn't come to me that way anymore because the
Okay.
economy is forcing people to choose
Yeah.
food or something over credit. People are not worried about their credit right now.
Yeah.
Um, I'm used to dabbling in a space where I only help my credit repair clients. I never took leads outside of my credit repair. Now I'm having to beg everybody to be their real estate agent. I never had to do that before. So you have to learn how to adapt, pivot, and succumb to
What's
these
happening?
noises in your head to
Yeah.
try to like get over it and start all up. You got to go back to the old school way. And only way that you can be successful is consistency. So once
Ooh,
I get
yes.
consistency down again, I will start feeling like I'm more successful than I am. But because I'm naturally like a worker bee, it
Hmm.
I'm gonna get some accolades along the way. But I could be so much further ahead if I stay consistent.
You
And
are
I
more
know that.
consistent. But
And
that,
I know that.
and at least you know, right? At least you know, and you
Yeah.
know what it is that you should be doing, and you're working toward that, right? And you're
I
right.
had
A
to
lot of people right
realign some
now,
goals.
yeah, and you're right. A lot of people are trying to pick and choose. Do I pay this bill, this light bill? Do I get groceries, or do I worry about paying this credit card bill? And people are not worried about the credit card bills right now
Right.
because they're worried about, like you said, their everyday living expenses. And
Expenses.
sadly, it's the same thing in the life insurance industry. People are letting their life insurance policy lapse because they got to figure out how to pay
I
their
let mine
utility
lapse.
bills. Yeah, they've been trying to figure out how to pay their utility bills and rent bills and groceries and all the different things. So I definitely get that, and it's hard. So before I let Miss Effie Best go, and we're gonna have to bring you back because I know there is a whole lot more.
There's a lot of juicy. Look, there's a lot of juice. You know where I got my hustle from?
Where you get your hustle from?
Dancing.
What kind of dancing, Effie?
He's your nasty dancer, dancer for money.
Effie, you was not. Let me go. Let me go do some more research and find enough. Let me find out this for real African American woman was up
Oh
there.
my God, I'm gonna die after I get off this. But yeah, I put myself in situations that I didn't have to, but that was one of the biggest things that taught me a lot and how I'm able to maneuver. It's like playing chess in these streets. I had to put myself in some bad situations to maneuver around.
Effie, Effie,
I'm
Effie,
so
Effie.
street smart.
Oh, I knew you was street smart. So without giving all the details, I want you to. What are some of the other hustles? Because even being in business is a hustle. You have to hustle
For
for your
sure.
own business, right? But now you're this top-notch, realtor, and you do the credit repair, among some other things. And now you're trying to take over the golf course. I didn't even know women golf like that, but you're trying to take over the golf course.
It's so
Um,
fun.
right. And I know that's an expensive sport. People are like, oh, it's so soothing. You trying to hit this little bitty ball in that hole way over there. What's soothing
Way
about
over
that?
there.
Right. But outside of that, what are just some of the random hustles that Miss Effie had to dump out of her cup that she wasn't gonna do no more. Because you know already put out there that dancing was one of them, but we ain't going
Well,
that too far.
I mean, I sell cars, I do taxes, sell houses, business funding, business formation preparation, um, just anything that got to do with a dollar and some cents. Effie gonna do it. Um, even just being a connector, you could charge for that.
That- That's
Um,
very true. That's very true.
it's very very important that if you're well connected in the city and very knowledgeable, that you find a way to get in the way. And call it getting in the way. You find your way to be a third party, and you charge a little. Now it might be a little, might be a lot, but you make sure you charge.
You get your piece. Okay.
You get your piece, and that's how you keep revenue going. I've been a lot. So at the beginning, I was a beast. I was a bitch. I was a beast. I was tunnel vision. I was mean. You kind
Okay.
of gotta be that way to be in a little bit of delusional to be very successful. I became a big old teddy bear
Not
and a
delusional.
softie, and I be letting people make it. And I'm like, oh, if I could tap into my old self, that heifer would not get away with that. But and it does get you railroaded when you're too nice and too
Yeah, it
soft
does.
in the entrepreneur world. You gotta be a dog. And I'm trying to find that dog back in me that don't bite too hard because I used to like tear skin away.
Right.
So and people be like, you cannot talk to people like that. And I'll be like, I do not care. And then they
Right.
knew, and it kept people away. They knew not to
They
mess
kept
with
your
me.
boundaries. Right.
Right. So if I could try to find a subtle way to do that again and then be a dog and tunnel vision and focused, it will be a lot clearer because that's what I'm trying to find right now, like that path. Um, but I gotta get back into being a dog. Like I was a dog and this stuff was fun. It was fun.
Okay.
I had to be mean though. I had to be
But it
mean. It was
worked
no
for
nice
you.
effie.
Okay. It worked for you.
It
Okay. So
worked. And I got my
last
money.
question. Yes, you got your money. Last question, because I'm gonna let you go rest because I know you had some mouth work done recently. So I don't want you to overdo it. So I'm
That's what the
not
Jim Beam is for.
gotcha. So yes, you got the hot toddy in your cup
Yeah,
tonight.
the hot
I
toddy.
ain't mad. But in this wonderful world, right, of council culture, like you said, you're trying to get back to that, that tough dog, for the hustle that you had to get back what you lost and some, right?
Mhm.
Because you had to be stripped away of some things, right?
Yeah.
Um, what is your take on living life while being beautifully flawed? Because some people are like, you're flawed, you're this, you're that, you're not gonna do. What does that look like for you?
Own it. If I could put my mugshot on my t-shirt and wear it with a blazer, I would own it. That would look so fly. Own it. Like own it and be unapologetic about it. And then correct your steps as you move forward. But you gotta own it. Like I won't take back anything that happened to me because it shaped me to where I am today. If one of the courses, the trajectory in those courses had changed, I
Mm-hmm.
probably would have missed a whole step. I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So own it. I'm not ashamed anymore. Like I used to be embarrassed. Like, okay, everybody knew that I drove like Maseratis and BMWs. Right now I'm driving a Honda. I'm not ashamed about it because
Okay.
that Honda's saving me a lot of money.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
You
is.
know, I don't got no $1,100 oil change and 18
Ooh.
million car notes that I used to have because my kids were driving BMWs and Lexuses and I'm driving Lord knows what, plus a motorcycle. I bought a motorcycle and didn't even know how to ride it. I mean, I was doing the most. I've learned how to be more financially smart with my money
Okay.
and appreciate waking up
Yeah.
and getting the chance to write my story every day.
every
you
day.
get up and you can write your story. You choose what to write down on that paper. So that beats any money in my bank account any day. Even though I like the money in my bank account, that still
That would do
beats
it.
any money because I could write in how much I want today. You get what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
I'm grateful for those lessons though.
okay. So last question, and I know I said last question, but I know for real estate, you are definitely in the state of Texas. For credit repair, is it all 50 states?
I am international, honey. I got recognized in Mexico. So we taking it. Whoever got a social and want to get it fixed, call me.
There it is. So credit repair anywhere. Go look her up on Facebook and on IG. Credit repair anywhere internationally. Also, when you're ready for that real estate piece of property, you ready for that home, definitely buying a home. Make sure you look up Effie Best. Y'all heard she has some other things going on, but to find out what
I
the other
do.
things are, you're gonna have to
One
listen to
stop
the
shop.
show.
One
But
stop
I
shop.
know there's something else you do that I'm gonna need from you. So we're gonna talk when the cameras go off. But other than that, thank you, Effie, for joining us here on What's
Thank
in Your Cup
you.
Conversations. Of course, I am your girl, Consuela Nicole. If you have a topic that you want us to talk about and you're not quite sure, send us an anonymous email. Trust me, this comes directly to me. No one else will know it came from you. We will bring that topic on. We will see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of What's in Your Cup Conversations. Until
This
next
was
time,
fun.
have a
This
good
was fun.
night.
Good night.